We started off going 8-22 in our very first season at Boston College. We've been trying to rebuild this history for a while now. In our second season, we followed up with even more heartbreak by just getting snubbed and being left on the bubble and left out of the NCAA Tournament after going 20-11. Absolute snubbery, and we ended up losing in the NIT in the first round to Boise State. And then on top of that, our entire team graduated. So we are completely starting from scratch with some new recruits here. Steve Shappert, one of the main ones. Sean Ryan, Rainer Vick were some of the ones we signed during the regular season. And then the offseason, LeVar Callaway was one of the big ones, as well as Devon Shepard. So two guys that are going to be big pluses coming into this next season to really shape this team. We are now in the 2011-2012 NCAA basketball season. Our team's looking at Callaway at the 1, Moorhead at the 2, Shepard, Norton, and Reggie Jackson, the lone senior. Norton was the star of the team last year, so hopefully in his sophomore season he can take an even bigger leap and hopefully lead us to even more promise. It'll be a much tougher road as there's some great recruits such as Anthony Davis at Kentucky. They also still have John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, so watch out for that Kentucky team. But for us, this is the team we're rocking with. A lot of really good freshmen that we ended up recruiting in Shepard and Callaway, both of them is 77-78, already better than players that already left. So let's get right into this first game of the season. We're actually playing in the Old Spice Classic. We ended up blowing out Oakland in our very first game, and then Siena got some revenge. We lost to them last year. And then we played the Butler Bulldogs in the championship, where we would go on to smoke them, and all of a sudden it looks like we are actually a team that is worth fighting for in this season. So starting off 3-0, couldn't have been happier. Honestly, didn't know how this team was going to start. We then followed that up with a win over South Carolina, and then we played number 15 UCLA, where this UCLA team, while they were tough, while they were scrappy, we just fought hard enough to make some big shots down the stretch. Shepard right there showing off his mid-range ability, and we would upset the number 15 team in the country, led by Shepard, the true freshman. So big time start. We then played Boise State. I wanted some revenge, so I think we took that revenge, 112 points, and then Arizona State felt our wrath as well. And we were 7-0, and all of a sudden we're one of the top teams in college basketball. Or so we thought. We then played Ole Miss. They were coming into our place. This time Norton hitting the big 3 to tie up the game. 2 minutes left in this one. It was down to the wire. Ole Miss getting the big shot to go there. 2-point game. We need an answer. This time it's Norton again for 3. He gets it again. The sophomore's coming up clutch. Ole Miss would answer right back with a 3 of their own and retake the lead. And then with 14 seconds left, Reggie Jackson kicks it out to Norton. Norton a 3. It would go again. 1 point lead. Norton's been clutch. 2 seconds. 1 second. Ole Miss for the win. They would get it at the buzzer. Ole Miss would beat us ever so barely, and we would get our first loss of the season on a buzzer beater against Ole Miss of all teams. Luckily, we would bounce back, winning against Iowa State, winning against Wyoming, and then winning as well against Providence. And then finally a win against UC Davis. We'd won 4 in a row, so we bounced back pretty well, I'd say. And then we went to go play St. Louis, and on top of that, we played pretty well in this one. Going into their place, we were able to steal a win and then get another one. All of a sudden, we are looking at another win against Northeastern, and some of these cupcakes resulted in a 13-1 record that results in a team that is not ranked. However, we're currently in best of the rest, so our goal is just not to be on the bubble this year. As long as we're not a bubble team, that's all I care about. Malcolm Norton and Shepard are leading the way on top of Callaway, so 2 freshmen and a sophomore. Reggie Jackson, the senior, doing well, getting 8 assists a game. We were off to a great start. Non-conference play, though, is coming to a close, which means it's time for conference play in the ACC. You know that's a gauntlet. We started off against NC State, where with 4 minutes left, they would take a 9-point lead. But we tried to storm our way back. This time was Malcolm Norton hitting the 3, cutting it to 6. And then from there, the block. But they would get it back. The spin move, beautiful finish. And NC State would take care of us. We lose by 12 in our first game in the ACC. We'd bounce back with a nice 14-point win over Maryland. And then we had to go play a very tough Clemson team. This Clemson team, for some reason, is always so good in this game, and it's a team that I just really struggle with. They don't miss shots. They really hit everything that they take. We would end up losing 89-78. And then it was Wake Forest, a team that we had some epic games against. Al-Farouq Amino is the star of this show, as Wake Forest this time going down low, and it was 87-84. And then a block, but we would take it right back, pushing it the other way with 1:11 left. It's Shepard, the freshman, going, hitting the tough fadeaway off glass. We have a 5-point lead, and we finished with a 5-point win. Big win against Wake Forest. We always play them close, but luckily we were able to get the win in that one. We then lose to Maryland in our next one, losing by 11. Now at 2-3 in conference play, 15-4 overall. Just don't want to slip too much. We had a great start to the non-conference. We then got blown out by Wake Forest in the next one, followed up by blowing out Miami, and then we had to go face Virginia. A really, really tough Virginia team, again, that we just did not play well against. Turn over here, you can see them pushing it the other way. Slam finish, we would end up losing this one 62-53. Now it's time for our toughest test of the season. We are going into number 3 North Carolina. They are an absolutely stacked team. So we came in this one firing. We were only down by 2 with 4 minutes left. Then it was, of course, Reggie Jackson hitting the 3, the senior coming up clutch. They would answer every single time. We would answer every single time. It was back and forth down the stretch. 1 point lead, we would end up turning it over, 2:16 left, pushing the other way, this time going down low with the finish. UNC would take a 3-point lead, but then it was Malcolm Norton from the mid-range getting it to go. 1:30 to go. Again, North Carolina, they just would not miss. We needed one bucket, one stop, and then a bad pass trying to push it up the court. They would go right back, nice bounce pass, finish, and they had a 5-point lead, 1 minute left. Jackson this time to Norton in the corner with the crowd rushing into the 3. Unbelievable 2-point game, but they would answer right back again. We just couldn't get the stop we needed. And then 50 seconds to go, would not go again. We forced a foul, and we couldn't pull off the win. We were so close to getting it upset against North Carolina, but we couldn't do it. But we would bounce back with a big win against NC State and Florida State, so it's okay. We get our wins back. 5-6 now, 18-7 overall. And guess what we are doing? We are flirting with the bubble, but we are still best of the rest at the moment. We have a lot of games still to go in the ACC, though. This time, a tough game against Clemson. As I said, it's just a team that I struggle against. Fouls on fouls on fouls. We would just not be able to get it. But then 74-74, deep 3 this time from Norton would go. 3-point lead. Again, another foul. They just kept getting back to the free throw line, and we couldn't get it. This time, Callaway, the jumper, would go. Our offense was clicking in this one. Clemson down low again, getting it to go. 1-point game. They're forced to foul, and we've got to make some free throws. It's Norton at the line. He gets both. 3-point game, 5 seconds left, another buzzer beater. No, it doesn't go. This time we get the board and we get the win, and we beat the number 18 team in the country. Big, big win for the resume right there. And then another win against Florida State. We would chalk both those up. 8-8, 21-9 on the season now. Big time wins. We are now, I'd hope to say, comfortably in as we end the season at 21-9, going into the ACC tournament, where we would start off against Maryland. This is a chance to really solidify ourselves. This is where we blew it last year. If we just won one game, we could have been good. Coming into this one, we had to really, really button ourselves up. This time hitting some big-time shots, but they would answer everything. It was an offensive battle back and forth to start this game between us and Maryland. They had a 28-24 lead at the half. However, this time, going down low, they would get another offensive board and go on a big run here to start. They were up by 10. 8 minutes to go. We had to put a run of ourselves, and it was Callaway, the freshman, doing big stuff down low, and then it was Norton, again, the sophomore, for 3. We had a 2-point lead. They would answer right back. 44-44, Shepard for 3. He gets it to go. Now, again, 3-point lead. Callaway, give it to the freshman. He's double teamed. Doesn't matter. He puts it in. 5-point lead. 45 seconds to go. Maryland, can they get it? No, they cannot. Forced a foul. We get our first ACC tournament win since we've taken over here at Boston College, and that hopefully can solidify us as a big win. And now we have a chance to rematch against North Carolina, and if we win this, we definitely solidify ourselves in the tournament. This time, it was a tough one, though. They absolutely could not miss. Harrison Barnes this time finishing, and again, North Carolina is just one of those teams that is big time. They got big time players who make big time plays, and they came out firing in this one. And at the end of the first half, we were down by 14, and we could not come back in this one. Here with 5 minutes left, they would get the final bucket. They would go up by 20 plus in this one, and it just had no opportunity to come back at all. They were just way too good. We couldn't compete with them, even though we went into their place and nearly beat them in the ACC tournament. They were a whole different beast, and we lose by 22. So hopefully that big loss actually doesn't hurt us, and we're still able to make the NCAA tournament. Well, 22-10. Hopefully that's enough. It's time for the selection show. As you can take a look, the number 1 seeds here: Texas, Georgetown, Washington, Villanova, all rounding it out at the top. The West region, we would make it as a 10 seed. We are going to the NCAA tournament. We finally did it. It took 3 years, but we've done it. This young team has made it happen. But we are facing Georgia Tech, a team that we have faced before in the ACC, so that will be interesting. We're facing a fellow ACC foe as we take a look at All-Americans. You can take a look at Anthony Davis, one of the stars of the show. I am really worried about that Kentucky team if we do make it far. I think they are the favorite to win it all, but as a 10 seed, we've seen it before. We can make a run, and we have the stars to do it. Malcolm Norton is the man to do it. Shepard, Callaway, Reggie Jackson, Moorhead, Winston, Ryan, Elmore, everybody. We're going to need the best efforts in order to try and make a run here in the NCAA tournament. So let's get right into it. We are going against Georgia Tech here in the first round of this NCAA tournament. I am so excited because we have finally done it. I have been trying for the past few years. We got snubbed last year. We didn't get snubbed this year. Even though 22-10, we had a pretty good start, and then we blew it a little bit in ACC play. We just didn't have any big wins. But I think maybe that Clemson win, one win in the ACC tournament, just solidified us a spot in the tournament. So we would get off to a great start in this one. Callaway hitting the first shot of the game. It was 5-2. Then it was Shepard driving the lane with the crafty finish. 12-6. Reggie Jackson left wide open for 3. Don't do that. He will hit it in your face. But Georgia Tech came storming back. We know what this team is capable of. We played them a lot last year, and we did not do well. This time, it was Iman Shumpert getting the bucket. And then 23-17, Malcolm Norton up and good. We would regain a nice solid lead. And then again, it was Winston not getting it at the buzzer. In the first half, we were up 25-19. We were doing a great job. 40% from the field, 9 turnovers for them, only 3 for us. But then the second half, we didn't start off strong. Turnovers, missing shots, and Georgia Tech would storm all the way back and take the lead. They would not only take the lead, they would extend the lead, but we would answer right back. We got Malcolm Norton to take over down the stretch, this time driving down low, the and one for Georgia Tech. Moorhead would have 4 fouls at this point, so the big man, we got to be cautious with him now. Then another turnover, another shot, another bucket. They were doing everything they wanted at this point. Iman Shumpert for 3, he would get it to go. 45-37. Down by 8. 2 minutes to go. We need something. Reggie Jackson would answer in a big way. 5-point game. Now it's Norton. A crossover. Getting to the hole. Throwing it up, but wouldn't get it to go. 1:30 to go. Shumpert again. Fouled. And they would get free throws. Make it a 7-point game. Then it was Reggie Jackson, a deep 3. No, but Moorhead with 4 fouls still in the game. And he wouldn't get it to go either. Doesn't matter. 1 minute to go. We need a stop. And we couldn't get it. 9-point game. It's not over yet. Shepard this time the 3. He would get it. We're not dead yet. Still a 6-point game. And this time Reggie Jackson strips him. Going all the way. He's got the speed to finish. And he does. Laying it up and in. It's a 4-point game. Free throws now for Georgia Tech. They would get both. It's a 6-point game. We need something big here. Reggie Jackson a 3 again. Would not go. It would rim out. And we would end up losing in our first NCAA tournament game to the number 7 seed, Georgia Tech. We had this game. We blew it. We had the lead the whole time until the second half started, and then everything went wrong. We started turning it over. We started fouling them, and they started hitting all of the shots. We started missing them. Norton went a little bit cold down the stretch, which was really, really tough. We did not need that to happen, that's for sure. Same with Shepard, the freshman, couldn't step it up in the big game, and we would end up falling. And in the NCAA tournament, all the teams that advanced, you'd have Nova and Michigan State against Washington and North Carolina, a North Carolina team that we faced. Washington would beat North Carolina, and then they would end up beating Villanova in the national championship, led by Isaiah Thomas. So that's how our season comes to a close. 22-11, a tough way to go out. You see all of the big-time NBA players that are leaving now, so hey, maybe there's some free roam for us to actually make a jump in the upcoming seasons. Reggie Jackson is leaving. Pretty sad to lose one of our seniors. So now it's time to move on. Recruiting is where it's all at. We ended up signing some solid players, some 4-stars and a 3-star, just to really bankroll our roster. Tyson Manning, Juma Walters, some players that will really, really be helpful as we need to replace some good guard play, especially Malcolm Norton. He is not leaving at this moment, but This is likely his last season in a Boston College uniform, given how players tend to go pro in this. So we had to really push for some solid recruits. I wanted to go and get some better big men because obviously Callaway was great, but Moorhead, his inability to score, he got a great offensive rebound on the stretch, but he couldn't put it back up and in. So we need some scoring bigs. We need someone to put alongside Callaway as well that can get rebounds. And my big thing is getting players over 6'10", because in this game you can get some centers that are like 6'8", 6'7", same with power forwards. So it's all about getting the big players, and we got them. We got some solid players, some 4-stars coming in, and our team next year is actually looking pretty good. As we look, we're the 4th best team overall-wise, at least in the ACC. As we look at the roster at the moment, we've got an 83 overall Malcolm Norton. If you know anything about this game, that's pretty big. A lot of our freshmen, we are redshirting because we're just going to save them for next year. We got a nice fun schedule. We got some big games. Number 5, Michigan State. We got number 11, Florida. And then Texas Tech, Iowa. And then we start ACC play. So as we look, we ended up winning 2 more games than last year. So at least that's something. And we made it to the first round of the NCAA Tournament. Couldn't pull it off from there. But we are on to the next season. So plenty to be excited about and ready for. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. And of course, goodbye.